but we can't wait any longer. We're starting the show off with a huge announcement that's happening right here in Buffalo. Shea's Performing Arts Center has had quite the year, from a beautiful restoration, as you can see here, to Broadway hits that have brought Buffalo to a standing ovation. And just in time for their newest lineup, we decided that we have to, of course, have a little bit of a sneak preview of it. It's everything that Buffalo is buzzing about, and it's in the studio right now.
And our first guest this morning is Albert Nocciolino. He's the co-presenter and producer of Shea's. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited about the new season. There's so much to talk about here.
Absolutely. So before we start going through all of the shows and giving you a little bit of a blurb about each of them, I'm curious to find out what the process of picking these shows was like.
Well, you know, we've kind of found our way to a formula, I think, that works here in Buffalo. Most importantly, we want to bring the best that's available for our subscribers, but we also look for balance. We want brand new Broadway shows, some classics, and it's really important to bring in new audiences. So we look for family shows and shows that might bring some younger people to the theater, and I think we've accomplished that this year.
And that is the perfect segue into our first show, which is perfect for the families, and that is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dream.
Right, I mean, and actually in that show we have all the components. It is a classic, the first show from Tim Rice and Angela Weber, but a brand new production directed by Andy Blankenbuehler, who won the Tony Award for In the Heights, and then starring Ace Young and Diana DeGarmo, who've been on Broadway and had a lot of success on American Idol, and so they this is a brand new, fresh production, just opened 2 weeks ago, and we're really excited about it coming here in the fall.
And that's kind of a throwback to when we just had Constantine Maroulis in Buffalo.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, these are young artists who are talented, and they find their way to the stage, which is just terrific, and now they're going to tour for us. So
it's great to see these classic shows revamped and redone with new costumes, new arrangements. Same thing we're going to see with the next show, probably, which would be Cinderella.
Cinderella is a brand new, beautiful production based on the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella, the men who wrote The Sound of Music and South Pacific. This is a beautiful production with all the classic components, the pumpkin and the slipper and everything else. But William Ivy Long, who created all the costumes. They transitioned during the show, some of the costumes, very creative, lush, elegant, and again, a family show.
And if you're talking about taking your daughter or your son to a show that's really going to get them hooked on theater at a very young age, Cinderella has to be one of those top picks.
We would hope so. We would hope so.
I've been in that show 3 times in my life.
All right, so we want to move on to something that's a little bit classic, to something that is fairly contemporary, and we're talking about Motown, the musical.
Brand new musical based on the story of Berry Gordy, the man who founded Motown. Not only did he find Motown, but all the hits that came with it, all the great acts, from Diana Ross to the Jacksons to Lionel Richie and Smokey Robinson, Hitsville, USA, but also the story of how that happened. But incredible choreography, the recreation of all those musical groups, and the great music of Motown.
And this is one of those things a lot of people call a jukebox musical, because you're going to hear the songs you love from your childhood.
I mean, we were fortunate to have some cast members for the announcement event, and boy, they were rocking the house.
Can't wait to see that. Right. Also, toes will be tapping for the return of Chicago to the Shea stage.
The razzle-dazzle of Chicago now has become really an American musical classic. It's been on Broadway since 1996. The classic choreography of Bob Fosse with all that little hand motion that I find to be so exciting and somewhat sexy at the same time.
Somewhat sexy.
Yeah. And,
it gets hot when you're watching Chicago.
So we're really excited, and Buffalo likes Chicago, and Chicago likes Buffalo. So.
And we're moving on to the next show, which anyone that loves theater just absolutely loves this show, and that is Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, celebrating unbelievably its 25th year on Broadway. And this is a brand new production with new sets and costumes, a stunning new adaptation of the same show, same music, same story, coming here for 2 weeks. Some 21 tractor trailers will roll up to Shea's to put this beautiful, big, magnificent show on the stage. Again, just a wonderful classic as well.
And if you're talking about a spectacle of a show, this is it.
Yes, this is theater at its best.
Got to see it once in your life, or 12 times in your life, right? For sure. And then we know you're excited about the final show.
I'm really excited about it, and I think it's a show that for me has just been so much fun to be involved with. But Kinky Boots, which won the Tony Award for Best Musical this past season, adapted from a small British movie, frankly, based on a true story, but with brand new music by Cyndi Lauper, a book by Harvey Fierstein, who's done many shows on Broadway, and Jerry Mitchell directing the show and choreographing. It's a story about accepting people for who and what they are, and how you can accomplish things together, but then at the same time having a great time. There's a wonderful song, everybody say yeah. Everybody say yeah. And when you leave that show, you're standing to your feet and singing, and it's really fun.
And it's really amazing to think this just won the Tony for Best Musical.
Right.
It's still on Broadway, and
Yeah.
we're getting the tour before it even finishes its run.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. One of the things that I think we've been so fortunate to have evolve here is because we have such a great subscription base here in Buffalo, and we have such a beautiful theater with Shea's, that everybody wants to come and play Buffalo. And so we're fortunate enough that every show that gets on the road, we get them right there in that first year of the tour, and here we are with a great season.
And every year we're seeing bigger and better shows come.
Yeah, it's hard for every season to be better than the one before. We talked about that before, but we like to think we put together whatever is available and the best that we can.
All right, producer Albert Nocciolino, thanks so much for making time to visit us.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you go to shays.org to make sure that you check out the special engagements as well, because there's some great things making their return.
Including, of course, one of Buffalo's favorite shows in the past year, and that is Book of Mormon. So you'll have to check that out too.